What's going on, everybody? It's Oscar Cisneros. And real quickly, I want to be able to touch on this important topic today that I think is of great importance for me. And I believe it's something that you as an audience can extract from this message and you can use it to your advantage in everyday walks, everyday arenas of your life. The topic that I want to talk about today is something that is considered backable. What is somebody who is backable? Backable means that there's a person that has the reputation, that has the charisma, that has the charm, that has the confidence for me to be able to want to invest in them. I know that they're going to do a good job. I know that they're going to execute it the way that it's supposed to be. And in return, I'm going to give them this opportunity. Obviously, me as the person that's backing extracts some type of value. What creates a backable person? A backable person is not self-interested in themselves only. A person that is willing to serve others rather than just serving themselves has more opportunities in life because they help others eat before they feed themselves. A little quick analogy, I thought it was a really interesting story, was the following. There was a man who was given a tour of heaven and hell. Naturally, the devil wanted to go first. The devil shows him around hell and he shows him this banquet table which had no reservations. I mean, people were sitting there. I mean, there was anything and everything that you wanted, and there was never a need. It was always there. However, the man looks at the people sitting at this table and he realizes that they have a 4-foot plank attached to their arms with a fork and a knife attached to the end of these planks. So no matter how hard they try, they cannot bring the food into their mouths to eat. So they are naturally miserable. Now, other people are upside. When God has an opportunity now to show this man heaven, he says, let me show you heaven real quick. Let me show you what we got. The man tours heaven and he goes into the banquet hall, and then he sees the same picture. People sitting at a banquet hall with all food, all types of delicacies from all over the world. And they're laughing, there's gaiety, there's cheer, I mean, there's just music. And the guy goes, wow, that's fascinating. But something caught his attention. He looked down at their arms and he also noticed that they too also had a plank of wood and a fork and a knife attached to the end of their planks. But instead of focusing on feeding themselves, they were feeding each other. They were backing each other up. Tell me that is not a profound story. The moral is, if you can feed enough people, you yourself will eat well. So the question becomes, well, how can you incorporate a servitude mentality into being able to be considered backable? First of all, you have to recognize who you're serving. What is the person, the demographic, the need that is required from you, either in your business, at your job, at your home, in your family, more importantly as well in your personal life. Most people themselves don't even back themselves up. A lot of times there's a lot of negative self-talk where you think of an idea, you think of a plan, but very quickly you talk yourself out of it and you say, you know what, I can't back that idea up. Let's just go back to doing things the way that they were. And what happens as a result is that no action ever arises from that situation because you couldn't even consider yourself backable. So now if you can see how that translates with you as a personal self, imagine how the other people in your life view you. They probably view you in the same context. They say, this is a man who doesn't have no self-respect for themselves. They got no self-worth. How can I invest in that person if they themselves don't have the capacity to invest in themselves? Right? It's almost like our own worst enemy are the limitations that we place on our minds. Literally every single problem begins in the mind. It doesn't exist out of the mind. It may exist in the minds of other people, but it exists in here. It doesn't exist in the firmament, in the atmosphere, in the trees, in the books, in your clothes, in your bed, in your house. No, it exists in the mind. And it's the frame of mind that needs to get tweaked and adjusted so that the outcomes can be altered, right? You can replicate a system and have a constant result, constant outcome every single time. So I hope that you guys can learn real quick as to what you need to do to make yourself backable. First of all, start with yourselves. Write down exactly what it is that you expect from yourself so that you understand where you're at in terms and in relationships to your goal. Once you do that, you have a great outline to start it, and you're going to naturally see opportunities present themselves in a way. People are going to talk to you differently because they say, here's a man who's confident. Here's a man who has respect for himself. Here's a man who has respect and a mentality of service for all those around him. Naturally, who wouldn't want to back somebody like that? I wouldn't invest in anybody that was selfish and only looked out for themselves, would you? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You'd be insane to invest in somebody that all they thought about was themselves. Ideally, you want to think about, how can I give a service? How can I give a product? How can I give value that is way more than what the customer or the person bargained for? They expect this much as just a natural frame of reference, but you give them this much. Imagine what that'll do to your opportunities. Thanks so much for checking in. Check it out. See you later.